Hello and welcome to another video here at Frontline Model Hobbies, and yes, a review time, and it's been a long time in coming, I can tell you that. But anyway, gloss over that. And if you've read the title of this video, then you might be as excited as what I am. Yes, Magic Factory's 148th A-4M Skyhawk. And the eagle-eyed among you might have seen that it says 2-in-1. Now, I've got the Corsair that they did in 48th in my stash over there. I shouldn't have said that, should I? Yeah, this doesn't come with two kits. What this is saying is you can either do an early or a late. So there's only two versions of one kit that's in the box. So disclaimer, before you start ordering and get your kit and you find out there's only one in the box and you thought there was two, there's only one, okay? So, again, before I start off the review, I just want to say a big thank you to Gary at Tiger Hobbies for providing this review sample, so thank you so much. Now, this kit has been going around the battlegrounds on the forums and stuff about the price. Now, yeah, certain places you see them, you know, European prices, you know, you could be looking at north of 70 quid. You know, over 75, definitely, maybe even close to 80 quid after you've paid all your fees and everything and getting it into this country. But the thing about Tiger Hobbies is they've got the exclusivity on the import of this brand of Magic Factory, okay? So with that, they can put big orders in and then make the prices more affordable, which means that they get a discounted price, which the discounted price gets passed on to me, gets passed on to yourself as a modeler, okay? So, instead of being over 70 quid, the price of this kit in this country would be no more, don't pay any more, than $59.99. That is going to be the RRP for this kit. And I'm strongly saying that because that is the price and that's what it's coming at, okay? So don't pay any more than 60 quid. So what I'm going to do for this review is I'm going to review the kit start to finish as per, through the instructions, everything, okay? And then what I'm going to do at the end is I'm going to go a little bit of a compare and contrast from this one to that one and see what the differences are to certain areas like the cockpit, the bang seat, the canopy, certain things that modelers may be interested in and things that you know that you can get to replace certain items as in resin to bring it up to this standard. So anyway, the question is, and the question we've got so far is that we know that this is 60 quid RRP for this country. This is actually 35 quid RRP. Now, is this kit £25 worth more than this one? So let's find out. Okay, so just like the man says, let's have a look inside the box. And first off, yeah, the box art is striking, as you can see. Nothing better than an A4 Skyhawk going screaming along, by the looks of it, down a valley, dropping its fuel tank, fully armed with snake eyes and Zuni rockets. You can't go wrong with that. But anyway, so straight in the box. There we go. And we're greeted with pilot set of A4M attention. Okay, we'll have a look at that in a second. But as you can see, it is rammed full of plastic. And yeah, so we've got a fair amount of sprues. That's 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got the 2 fuselage halves. 6, 7 and 8 for the snake eyes. 9 and 10 for some pylons and stuff in there. 11 and 12 for the Zunis. 13 and 14 for the fuel tanks. 15 and 16 for the 250 Mark 82s. And then you've got another sprue here, which is for the wheels, and this is rubberized. And by the looks of it, you've got some other bits and bobs on there. So we'll have a look at that in a second. Also, you've got some photo etched in there. Ooh, masks. And by the looks of it, you've got a Pitot tube as well. Ooh. And also, is that ballast weight? That might be ballast. We'll have a look at that again in a second. Usual decals. Oh, what else we got? We have the rear view mirrors. That is a very nice touch as well. Usual instructions and the colour call-outs, which are in a big, massive pull-out sheet. So, bear with me 2 seconds and I'll show you the instructions. Right, just before I get on to the instructions, that pilot set, I think, is for the resin pilots that are going to come out. So, yeah, it's just telling you what you need to do when you get them. So, just inform you on that. Now, the instructions themselves, straight over the page, as you can see, you've got the sprue call-outs. One thing to note is, make sure that everything's in the box like you see there. So you've got everything all listed at the bottom. So it's mainly that Pitot tube. So before you start the build, just make sure everything's all there. Now, straight over the page, it might be difficult from this angle to see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag the camera in and you might be able to see a bit better. Like I said, I've just dragged the camera in so you can see a bit better. But as per any aircraft kit, as you can see, we're starting off with the cockpit. And in this case, we're doing the bank seat. So very self-explanatory going all the way through. One thing to note is that I think, by the look of the shape of them, they're the rubber seat belts. So I'll be quite interested to see how they go down. But that's the only thing that I would really need to be not concerned about, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see how they work. But anyway, so step 2, you're doing the actual tub itself, and you've got an early and a late. Now, also what you've got is you've got 2 different side console systems going on. So you've got one for the decals, and then you've got the detail one there. So either option for yourself. One thing to note about the A-4 Skyhawk is that the Skyhawk cockpit itself is quite simple in terms of what is in there. There's not a lot of wiring and this, that and the other. So yeah, that looks quite nice straight out of the box. The other thing is, moving on, is that when you've done the tub itself, it goes down onto the front wheel bay, and you've got the wiring in the wheel bay as well. So this actually goes down on there, and yeah, looks very, very nice. The bank seat I would actually put in at the end. So moving on, and you're doing the fuselage, you're drilling all the holes, which looks very nice, so don't forget to drill them. And also, by looks of it, moving on to this step here, is you've got these 2 access doors. So yeah, don't forget to put all the other bits on there. Looks very nice. And the 2 access doors here in step 4 will be for this area here. So it would be for some side detail for the engine. So that'd be nice to sort of add some wiring and detail that up. It's a nice inclusion that they've added that. Also, one thing to note is that you've got the front intake system, and also you've got the rear burner can, but you've got no centre section of the engine, which to me saves money. And well, what do you need it for anyway? You're never going to see it. So very nice that they've done that. Okay, so moving on to step 5, and as you can see, you've got a couple of bits and bobs doing there. So you've got to put this front nose section in there. You've got a couple of side plates to put on for the intake, and a couple of bits for the front gear bay. Then step 6, again, it'd be nice and interesting to see how all this fits together and if there's no gaps and this, that and the other. But these side plates that are going on, they've got an inner insert, so don't think you need to sort out the ejector pin marks. So yeah, that all goes together very nicely. Again, step 7, you've got 2 different versions, so you've got an early and a late. And again, just make sure you reference and you check and make sure everything's all in there correctly. And then step 8, as you can see, you've got the wing system on there, and you've got to drill a load of holes. So you've got different sizes of holes that you need to drill. So it's nice that they've said 0.9, 1.2, 1.5, and so on and so forth. So that's nice that they've done that. Also, you've got the wheelbase, so you've got the main rear ones to put in, and there's 2 halves to each one, so it's, again, not too hard of a system to put together. And again, you've got all the little bits and bobs to put under the bottom of the wing, and then you've got the top wing sections on there. And then finally, putting the fuselage down onto the wings like any normal A4 Skyhawk kit that I have ever done. But one thing to note is don't forget to remove the spoilers sections here. So you're removing the outers for closed and the inners for open. So don't forget to do that. Right, so step 9, as you can see, you've got the choice of cannons or no cannons. Yeah. And then step 10, you've got, and it always says choose one for this, but it's not this section. So don't assume it's this part here. But this is your burner can. So you're just putting that at the end and you're putting this section on there. And then this is what it's telling you to choose. So whether you want the slats open, I'm assuming that's open, retracted, sorry, closed or open. So this is what it's telling you. Do you want them open or closed? As simple as. Then moving on to step 11, you put in the tail and then you put in the elevators on there. And it's nice to have the elevators as a separate part to the horizontal stabilizers. That being is that you can pose them to wherever you want. So that's very nice. Also the same with the rudder, but again, you've got different choices of the tail. So you've got an early and a late version with this pod on the top. And then you've got a few bits and bobs on here, which again is different to that one. So don't assume that you're gluing this one on for that one as well. So, yeah. So moving on to step 13, and as you can see, you've got the avionics pack that sits on the top of the spine of the fuselage. And I can only assume that if they do like an E or a B or anything like that, obviously they'd have to change the nose and stuff like that. But, you know, all I need is a little plate there to go on it. And yeah, pretty much you've got a different version. So also, like the elevators, this, that and the other, you've got different spoilers and flap assemblies. So you can have them up or down, you can have them retracted or extended. And all you need to do is just cut different tabs off for different things and this, that and the other on there, which is very, very nice. Also, the aileron assembly, that can also be posed into any position, whatever you want. So flaps, elevators, rudder, whatever, you can have them all posed, which is very, very nice. Moving on to the taillock assembly. Self-explanatory, don't really need to talk a lot about that. And then we're moving straight on to the landing gear, which, to be fair, looks very, very nice straight out of the box, to be honest with you. And one thing to note is that the front gear itself comes in separate parts, unlike the Hasegawa kit. So it looks realistic. Anyway, now moving on, you're putting all the covers on, so all the gear doors and everything, all on there. You're putting the canopy on there. So yeah, literally everything what you need to do, your clear parts. And also, when you get onto the back, you're putting the air brake system in, and again, you can have it closed or open. And then this door, which is the engine access cover door, you can have it closed or open. So again, it gives you the option to do anything you want, all button up and closed or all open. That moves me quite neatly on to step 20. And as you can see, this front avionics bay, oof, yes, that looks very, very nice indeed. You've got quite a lot going on there, and you've got a lot of scope to add a lot more detail and a bit of wiring in there. Yeah, everything is kind of there for what you need. But if you don't want it, you can cut the tabs off, close the doors. I don't want to see that. Or you can have it open, like you can see there, bit of photo etch going in there, which is nice. And then it'd be interesting to see how this all fits. But if it does fit really well, kudos to them. But again, you've got two different options if you want it closed or open. And then this moves me again neatly onto this bit as well, because you've got two different options, the early and the late again. And also, you can just have the nose front little tip open. So you can have your tip open. And yeah, pretty much you've got three different options there from what I can see. You can have both halves open, or just a single half, or, yeah, all closed. Very, very nice. So moving on to step 24, as you can see on there, you've got your 5 main hard points, and these hard points are differently numbered, as you can see there, so don't mix them up. Also, you've got your angle attack sensors, which are photo etched, or one of. I think there's only one on one side. I'm not quite sure. But also you've got your air refueling probe going on there, which again I'd leave off until right to the end, because no doubt you'll probably knock it off like me. And then also, step 25, you've got your weapons and fuel tanks. Now, it would have been nice to have these as maybe being slip molded, one piece, but again, that's going to rank up the price and this, that and the other. So yeah, I'm a modeler, so I can put these together. It doesn't look too hard to put them together, to be honest with you. So you've got your fuel tanks, your 2 drop tanks. Is the ×2? No, ×1. I do beg your pardon. And you've got ×2 Zuni pods, though, which is very nice. You've got the Mark 82, so you've got ×6 of them, which are 500 pounders. Then you've got the smaller 250 pounders, but they're the Mark 81 Snake Eyes. So all in all, you've got 14 different weapon systems and a fuel tank, which is very, very nice. So you've got your multiple ejection racks, as you can see there. So you've got the 6 for their mirrors, I think they are, there for the centre line. And then you've got your triple ejector racks, which are them ones, which again, you can put wherever on the wings. So you've got the option of doing anything. So you can do that one, you can do that one, you can put the centerline fuel tank. Pretty much you can do anything you want. Step 27, as you can see, you're putting the canopy section together. So you're putting the 2 halves of the frame together, and then you're putting these mirrors and everything in, and then you're putting it onto the main canopy, which you can have closed or open. So you've got that option again. So it's nice to have all these options throughout the kit. I'm going to jump slightly a bit ahead of myself, because the mirrors, you've got these stickers that you can put on there as well. And also for the canopy, you've got the canopy mask, so it tells you where you can put the masks. And I'm only assuming, and I'm hoping, that the masks are already cut for you. And if they are, well, you don't even need to do that. So pretty much, I'm going to move further down now. And one thing that I do really like out of this kit is that you've got the intake colours included in the kit, which is a very, very nice inclusion. You don't need to make any, you've got them. So that's very, very nice. And also, which is very nice, is a boarding ladder. So you do get a lot out of the box, and you do get a lot of accessories and this, that and the other. So with the figure set that's coming out from this kit, or for this kit, shall I say, that would be a really, really nice inclusion. Last but not least, I'm just going to quickly show you, but these are the marking schemes that you got. So literally, there's colour ones anyway, so I'll show you that in a minute. So that is the instructions. Right, we've got this very huge sheet of colour callouts, as you can see here, and it makes me think this might be 1-to-1. But either way, so yeah, you've got the US Marines there. This one is the Naval Weapons Evaluation Facility, NWEF, Sandia National Laboratories, New Mexico, February 21st, or 21st of Feb, shall I say, 1975. And the colour call-outs are in AK, Mr. Colour and Tammy. I'm sure you can actually read yourself. But again, very, very nice. And then the other one is a very famous squadron, which is the Diamondbacks, which is another Marine squadron. And it's very nice to have the weapons loadout on there. And the colour call-outs are the same on the other side. So that is the call-out. So, moving on to the decals, as you can see, proof, look, they are done by Cartograph. And they are absolutely lovely. So lovely, in fact, that as you can see from the instrument panel, that artificial horizon looks a bit 3D-ish. And I've never seen decals so good of an instrument panel. The side bits are alright-ish in a way, in a fashion. So if you wanted to use the decals, you could get away with it. Even the writing is readable to a point. So yeah, the rolling register, you can peruse over these for how long you want. but they are absolutely amazing. So you've got weight in here as well. This is just for your nose weight. So this must be weighed out to the exact limit of what you need. So if you need any more, you're going to have to buy some more. But hopefully that should keep the jet on the floor rather than being a tail sitter. Okay, so I showed you this earlier, but you've got mirrors, which we all try and do by using some sort of chrome effect and this, that, and the other, and always mess it up or whatever you. But either way, that is also a nice inclusion, so you don't need to worry about that. And one other happy thing I'd like to say is that the masks are cut. Ooh. So these are usable. And if they fit, oh my God, you don't need to buy a mask set either. Nice one. Last but not least, before we get onto the kit itself, is the photo etch. So you don't get a lot of photo etch. You don't get photo etch seat belts, so I'm only assuming they were the rubber ones. But either way, it's a nice inclusion to have at least something. And it's got this film on here. The photo etch is quite thick in a way. It's a bit Trumperish size thickness of photo etch. So yeah, there we go. Right, onto the sprues now. And as you can see, I've got sprue A and sprue B. Now, also you can see that they're not mirrored because you've got this large cutout area. You saw that on the instructions, and that's for reasons. Now I'm going to show you closer. So I'm going to bin off one of the sprues and obviously show you the one that's got the most detail. And then closely up, you can see that the rivet detail and the panel line detail might look a bit thick, and some people may say so. But under my Mark 1 eyeball, it doesn't look too bad. But there again, it's maybe because the panel lining is just a lot sharper under the CAD and under the machining or whatever. So also you can see, and you might be able to see it there, you've got a seam line that runs all the way along there, and you've got one that will run all the way across the top of there, and that will run to that panel line. And I think it runs all the way down as well. So that's just because of the moulding process. So it doesn't look too bad whatsoever. The only thing that I have got is that these two location pins here might be a problem because of the intake. I'm not quite sure whether that might be, but either way, it's not too bad. The ejector pin marks, sorry, don't look like they're in any areas where you're going to see them. So no, that looks really, really nice. Okay, so moving neatly on to sprue C, and as you can see, the wings themselves, the panel lining, the riveting is very, very, very similar, if not exactly the same, to the fuselage. With the exception of this belly bit here, which, yeah, the riveting has just slightly faded out, ever so slightly. But the surface itself, the plastic, is very smooth on all the parts. And as you can see, all the flaps, elevators and everything, all the slats at the front there, as you can see, the rivet detail doesn't fade out, with the exception of that bit, which is kind of weird, but that's not a problem. The only area where I've seen a bit of flash is on those wires there. But a quick swipe with a knife blade and you should be fine. The detail on the opposite side is stunning. Absolutely astonishing. That is the main wheelbase for the rear. So you can't go wrong with the detail and the pipe work. A bit of paintwork in there and it should be totally fine. There's no ejector pin marks on anything, which shouldn't be. And all the ejector pin marks are all in areas where you're not going to see. So yeah, very, very, very nice. So moving on to sprue D, and as you can see, it's quite a large sprue, but it comprises everything for the cockpit, and you've got a bit of nose, you've kind of got a bit of everything on here. But moving in quite close, and as you can see, the cockpit detail of that quilted texture, yeah, and the quilting, very, 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 very nice. Also, the hard points as well, they've got detail on the ends as well, which sometimes you don't. You just seem to get like sort of that sort of effect, just nothing. But every single one has got it all the way down. Very, very nice indeed. And also, not to scare you, but that is on the inside. So there's no ejector pin marks on the inside of the bang seat. But on the opposite side, look at that. That is stunning. I reckon you probably don't need a bang seat. I reckon you'll get away with that straight out of the box. Everything else kind of looks okay. Really, really nice. No problems with that whatsoever. There's no ejector pin marks on anything that shouldn't be, which you're going to see on the other side. Again, this is the flap area on the the air brakes on the inside. Really, really nice. So yeah, nice sprue there. And again, very, very smooth. All right, so moving on to sprue E, and as you can see, I've got the tail, the horizontal stabilizers, but it is quite another large sprue in a way, in a fashion. But the surface detail again is very similar to the fuselage and everything else I've shown you, but apart from the horizontal stabilizers, which is ever so slightly soft on the rivets, which you can see there, but it's not a deal breaker, let's put it that way. But again, yeah, very nice veins on there, very, very nice and thin. You don't need to replace them whatsoever. Front landing gear looks absolutely lovely. The actual seam lines is next to nothing. They're the doors that go on the side of the fuselage. You've got injector pin marks in there, ejector pin marks even. And then you're going round gear doors, no ejector pin marks in them or whatsoever. They look absolutely lovely. And then the gear bay or the front bay, again, would be lovely to pick all that detail out. So yeah, and give it a wash. So yeah, very nice. Okay, so we're just going to go and scoot around, pardon the pun, these 4 sprues. So these F, G, H and J, all on a 1er. So literally, I have just knocked that off. So this is just one of the nose cones, and there's 3 different types of nose cones for whatever reason. I didn't think it actually showed you 3, but I might not have been watching or looking properly. But either way, so sprue F, as you can see, you've got your instrument panel, which absolutely looks stunning. So some of your own instrument dials in there, or you've got a Decal one there. And then the side consoles, oh my God, they are fantastic. They are looking really, really good. The surface detail of the rudder as well, and a bit of the tail, which is not one piece because you've got the other piece there, which is on sprue J, but then you've got the other option of the other instrument panel on that one as well, and you've got the Decal one on there as well. So yeah, very, very nice indeed. I can't fault this sprue or whatsoever, apart from my mistake of knocking that part off. Oops. Okay, so now on to the last of the major large sprues. This is sprue U, and as you can see, it's just a myriad of different things on here. So I'm going to pick out certain things that what you need to see. But round the burner can at the back, you've got this part here, which is very, very thin on the edge, so you don't need to really mess around with that. That looks very nice indeed. You've got the top hump avionics thing here. You've got a tiny, tiny bit of flash on the bottom of there, which you might be able to see. Quick swipe with the sanding stick and you should be fine. The rear burner can, the rear fan there, compressor blades and all this, that and the other, whatever it is, that is going to be down the end of there, so you're probably not going to see it anyway, so that shouldn't be a problem, but it looks okay as it is. And again, all this plastic is very, very soft and very, very smooth. Not soft, smooth. It's nice plastic. It's nice and hard plastic, to be honest with you. Inside the doors, there's no ejector pin marks again, and that goes the same with, if I'm looking for it, these little tiny doors. So you've got everything on there what you need. And again, the only downside really is ejector pin marks inside the front intake. But again, just quick swipe with the sanding stick and you should be fine. And that is the engine section, which you're going to see through that side door. So that's all you'd see. So pretty much everything looks fine on here. I don't see any problems whatsoever. So the first up on the weapons is sprue P. And obviously these are the mirrors and Tyres. So the multiple ejection racks and the triple ejection racks. These are the triples and they're the multiples. So you'll have 6 on them and 3 on them. And you've also got the sway braces, which look very nice indeed, to be honest with you. Now, I can't really fault these. They look very, very nice. You've got the cable on there that sends the signals. And yeah, the only downside is really that they're 2 halves. But again, we're modelers, we're designed to model, so it shouldn't be a problem. They should be fine. Next up is sprue K, which is the Mark 82s, the 500 pounders. And I do like these. I know they are multi-parts, there are 4 parts to each, but, and don't forget there's 2 sprues of this, the fins are very, very thin, and you can't really fault that, because many bombs I've had in the past are very, very thick, and the fuse itself looks very nice. So yeah, I can't really fault them. And when you've got some texture, bomb texture on there, you're not really going to see any of the seam. So yeah, that's very nice. Okay, so keeping with the bombs, I'm doing sprue L. I'm doing the Mark 81s, I think, is it? Snake Eyes. Now, again, multi-parts. The fuse looks okay. They look fine. But the only downside is you've got ejector pin marks on the other side. But that is the only thing and the only gripe I've got about that sprue. Moving on then to sprue N, and it's the Zuni rockets, which look really nice. There's a tiny, tiny bit of flash around that little bar there, but not a problem. The actual rockets themselves, the tips, are all one piece. All you have to do is glue this half together, put them 2 end pieces on and glue them in. So yeah, nothing too over elaborate for that one. Very, very nicely done. And last but not least of all the major sprues, with the exception of the clear parts, is sprue M, the fuel tanks. And if anybody thinks, well, why has it got raised detail? Well, yeah, they did, and they still do. If you look at F-16s, all the external details are raised. So all the baffles and everything are all inside. This is just, I believe, they're welded together. I'm not quite sure. But either way, yeah, again, a very, very nice sprue. And it'll be interesting to see how this goes together. But you have got a strong seam that goes on, and you've got an internal. Sometimes they don't work, but if that works, yeah, very nice. So now it's out of the bag, I can show you around, and that canopy is absolutely stunning. Let's see if there's much distortion. A little tiny bit of distortion at the bottom, but my God, that canopy is stunning. Absolutely stunning. Let's have a look at the front one. Yeah, I'm sold. I'm sold. That canopy is stunning. I've never seen anything like that. So, well done to Magic Factory for the clear parts. Well done. I must admit, I did forget about this, which is the Pitot tube. That is absolutely brilliant. And don't lose it because it's bloody tiny. So, the last thing is all the rubber parts. So I'm going to show you the sprue first, and then we'll come back to the wheels. But as you can see, you've got the seat belts on there, which I can see why they've done it rubber. It might be a bit of a ball ache to get them to sit where you want them to sit, but it should be fine. It should be fine. They don't look too bad, to be honest with you. So yeah, I can forgive them for that in a way, in a fashion. Now, I don't understand why they've done this, but either way they have. So if you like this, then yeah, that's good for you. But I don't know why they didn't do weighted, flat-spotted, normal tyres for the sprues themselves rather than rubber. So that's... It's probably just the downside to the kit, so either way, yeah. Pick and choose whether if you want that or not. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with the canopies, as you can see. So on the left, we've got the Hasegawa, and on the right, we've got the Magic Factory. Now the Hasegawa one, as you can see, it's got a seam line going all the way down, so you'll have to take that out, sand it down, whereas as we saw before, the Magic Factory one has got not one at all. So the front glazing as well is really good on the Hasegawa, and it's also just as good on the Magic Factory one. So yeah. Okay, so this is another area where I can compare and contrast between the two kits, as this is probably something you may want to detail up on this, that and the other. Now, the Hasegawa one is the lighter colour one, which is this one, and pretty much as you can see from the Magic Factory one, which is this one, it's a lot crisper. The plumbing, the wiring, all the detailing in there is just that much slightly, I wouldn't say slightly better, a lot better. So you are getting a lot more bang for your buck, as you can see. And also is the rear part of the wheel bay as well, with all that plumbing going all the way down there, the electrical wiring and everything. So it looks really good. So yeah, I can't really fault it, to be honest with you. Next up is the cockpit components. So as you can see, the instrument panels are the two. So I'm just going to show you one of them. You can pause it anytime as you please. So as you can see, the Magic Factory one again, it's just that much more crisper. And then you've got the other one, which you can see there, which is very nicely done. And it shows you the difference between the moulding between Hasegawa and Magic Factory and the shape. So the side consoles, as you can see, that's the Magic Factory one. So one of the most important things about the cockpit that most people would change is the bang seat, so the ejector seat. And Magic Factory, again, have out-trumped Hasegawa, as you will fully well expect. Now, don't get me wrong, the Hasegawa one and the Hasegawa kit is still buildable, but yeah, you can't complain about that ejector seat. Yeah, very, 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 very nice. So the difference between the sidewall detail, again, the lighter colour plastic is Hasegawa, is the quilting isn't too far off each other. I would say that the Magic Factory one, I've got it a bit better. In fact, quite a bit better actually, because the diamonds, you can see the diamonds a bit more 3D. But it's mainly the switches and the other bits and bobs inside the cockpit which are just that bit more pronounced and a lot more finer, as you can see. So yeah. Okay, so between the two intakes, as you can see, the Hasegawa one has got no ejector pin marks actually inside the intake, whereas Magic Factory have. So that's a down point on them for that little bit. The actual fan blades themselves on the Hasegawa one, I would say, are ever so slightly better. I'm just looking through a camera, to be honest with you, looking at these two. So it's ever so slight, but it is those ejector pin marks that takes this one down ever so slightly. Okay, so Hasegawa, I've done the burner cans 2 halves, and then also they've given you that as the rear part of the burner can. Now, Magic Factory, I've done the burner can 1 part, and then that is the burner can for the actual rear part, as we saw earlier. So I'll compare and contrast that with that. And yeah, there's no comparison really. All right, so comparing the two, obviously the Hasegawa one is at top and the Magic Factory one is below. Obviously the panel lines are a bit more trench-like on the Magic Factory one, but the moulds are newer, everything's newer about the kit, obviously a different manufacturer, and this, that and the other, and they just seem to be a bit more crisper. That's why they look more trench-like. But to be fair, it's not going to be that bad when it's under paint and you've got decals on there. But either way, at the two, yes, the Hasegawa one is a lot more refined, as in the panel lines are not that much trench-like, but I don't see much of a problem. And not only that, the actual fuselages are near enough spot on, as in length and everything, and as in dimensions. So if you think the Hasegawa one is near enough spot on in size and dimension and everything, the Magic Factory one doesn't look too far off. So yeah, I'm happy with that, to be honest with you. And there we have it. That is the review for Magic Factory's 1/48 A-4M Skyhawk. And I just want to say thank you so much again to Gary at Tiger Hobbies for providing this review sample. So yeah, cheers, mate. Now, before I start getting death threats and all sorts of things, I'm not kit bashing Hasegawa. I'm not having a go at their Skyhawks whatsoever. I still think their kits are still really great kits even today, and even better than most kit manufacturers' kits that are produced even now. So if you want a Bogo standard kit that will give you the detail of what you need and you're happy to build it and it kind of goes together really well and this, that and the other, well, get the Hasegawa one. Nobody's going to blame you for that, okay? You take from this review whatever you want to, okay? But if you're one of those modelers that wants to throw some detail into that and bring it up to that code, and you think you can get that kit and all the detail sets cheaper than that one, right, here we go. So I went on the interweb and I was looking at certain parts, what you can put into there to bring it up to that. And it wasn't those websites either, so don't even start thinking about it. So 35 quid for that one, retail, you might be able to get it cheaper. 60 quid retail, you are going to be able to get that cheaper. There's deals out already. But either way, we'll just take the retail prices. So starting off, 35 quid. Bang seat, fiver, now 40 quid. In that, there's no weapons. You only get fuel tanks. In this one, you get fuel tanks and weapons. So to add weapon set, the cheapest I saw, me personally, was 15 quid. You might be able to find it cheaper on a particular auction website, but 15 quid and another 15 quid on top of that, sorry, that one, and it's only a five away from the Magic Factory one. So in the grand scheme of things, with the detail and everything you get in there, you might as well buy that. That's what I would do, and that's what I am going to do. I'm going to buy that one and I'm going to build one. And hopefully I get to build it before everybody else does, because that's always what happens. Everybody just jumps on the bandwagon. Anyway, rant over. So that is the end of that. You, like I said, you can take away whatever you want to take away from this review. So it's your choice. And don't forget there's Hobby 2000 and loads of other ones, and there's even Hobbyboss, but I reckon this one is the best one now. You can't go any wrong with this one. Anyway, I just want to say thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you again on the next one. Cheerio.